Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure being and on this platform. And Happy New Year to everybody. So we still have 2 minutes to go. And so, Rahul, how was your New Year?
It was good, enjoyable. How about yours?
It was fantastic, and we have a fantastic panel today. We have Ren, who definitely is very good at website auditing and monitoring with us. Hello, Ren. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. And we have Angie, as usual. And we have Ravi on the background, and we have Pianjali, our fantastic moderator background work. So it's going to be a very important session. And also, Priyanjali, if you could let everyone know on LinkedIn that we are going to start in 1 minute. If you could, send a message out, that's going to be fantastic. All right, there's a very good saying that's ready, get set, and 30 more seconds to go.
How was your New Year, Mr. Kehi? You asked everybody and
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was just fantastic and was waiting for 2023. So it was great. So time to start. All right, so let's rock and roll. So today we are going to talk about an issue that a lot of law firms take it very lightly. And the reason they take it lightly, and even other businesses that take it lightly, is because they feel that compliance with the ADA is not important. But as you all can see, that there has been a rise in lawsuits that are being filed by the visually impaired against website owners who are not in compliance with the ADA. And Rahul and I will be talking a lot about it. And we are joined by Ren, who's very experienced in these things, and he works for My Legal Software. And besides that, we're going to talk about one important thing, because let's put it this way, that I got a question from a lawyer. He said, Mr. Gay, I have these around 25, 30 people working for me. I have a very good website. So, you may have the best website, but is it in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act? So he said that, why should I bother about it? Unfortunately, the law wants you to bother about it, because you can be subjected to fines and penalties from the Department of Justice. I think Rahul is going to talk about that issue. And above all, if a visually impaired person visits your website, and if your website is not in compliance, he can bring a federal lawsuit, a federal court lawsuit. And guess, I have some news for you folks. I have been on the plaintiff side. I've worked with plaintiffs who have sued website owners who have not been in compliance, and the settlements have been crazy. The owners of these websites had to pay a lot of money because the people who were handling the websites, let me remind you this, the people who were handling the websites did not know what compliance really means under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So if you're John Doe, you have around this great firm, your personal injury firm, you're very happy, you have this roaring business, and suddenly a blind, visually impaired person visits your site and he cannot navigate on your website. Your website is blurred, he cannot see certain sections. And Rahul is going to talk about the brick and mortar concept over here, which is very well defined by the federal courts. We are going to talk about that. And if it is a place of public accommodation, a law firm, I think, according to Rahul, is a place of public accommodation, which means the public visits you. So most courts have said that it is very important for you to comply with the ADA. That's the Americans with Disabilities Act. For a lay lawyer, what does that mean? You have this great website, and your web developer is John or Jane Doe who doesn't know anything about the laws relating to ADA. You build this fantastic site, it looks very beautiful. But unfortunately, a visually impaired person cannot read anything on your site. You are in trouble, not your web developer. Because you are the owner of that domain of that website, and you are in control of the business. So you can be subjected to fines and penalties. And under the law, if that person brings a federal lawsuit, you have to pay the cost and attorney's fees. And on average, $20,000 are average settlements in these cases that I have seen. This is my personal opinion. So the bottom line is, do you really want to kind of get your website fixed and comply with the ADA, or risk a lawsuit? Now, someone asked me, is this law only applicable in New York? Unfortunately, no. This is a federal law. And under federal law, all the states of the United States have to comply. Rahul, the ball is in your court, then Anjali will do some talking and Ran will do some talking.
Sure. Just to take a step back for a second, the ADA basically prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability by any place of public accommodation or their owner, or the person who leases it or operates the place of a public accommodation. And as Mr. Gehi already noted, the Department of Justice has consistently held the opinion that law offices are in fact a public accommodation. And so they are required to comply with the ADA. In a recent decision by the Eastern District of New York, in fact, and from November of last year, they found that the concept of a place of a public accommodation doesn't even necessarily need to refer to a specific physical place. They expanded the concept beyond what previous courts had said to include all websites, regardless of whether or not they're tied to a brick and mortar court. This is not universal, but it does show the increased emphasis on web accessibility and the increased expansion and of the domain of the ADA compliance. And as Mr. Gehi also said previously, one of the primary means that the ADA is enforced is by private plaintiffs who can both basically get injunctive relief to force you to comply with the standards that either the settlement or a court order determines apply, or in addition to that, if the Department of Justice determines that, say, there's a pattern or practice of discrimination or that there is a public interest in the case, they can also bring an enforcement action. And in those cases, the maximum fines are actually up to $75,000 for a first offense and up to $150,000 for each subsequent offense or violation of the ADA. So the costs can be significantly greater than the cost of simply just creating a compliant website from the start, not to mention that many of these actions require you, in addition to, say, paying attorney's fees for the opposing prevailing party or, the fines imposed by the Justice Department, they will also, as injunctive relief, force you to comply in any case.
Yes. So let me explain this in layman's terms of what Rahul said. As he said that if the Department of Justice comes after you, the fines can be up to $75,000. And what I've seen is a lot of law firms take these things lightly because they feel that they can litigate. Folks, I can tell you from my personal experience, I have filed ADA lawsuits from the plaintiff's end, against parties, and there have been settlements. And I cannot give exact amount, but the other side had to kind of, settle with a lot of money in attorney's fees. That's why, as a founder, we said, why don't we help people to comply with ADA compliant lawsuits? Getting a new site or getting KID compliant is not very expensive. There's a very good saying in English that prevention is better than cure. And if you're not going to comply, there are many people out there who may just say that, hey, listen, you know what? I went to your website, Mr. Personal Injury Lawyer, Mr. Immigration Lawyer, and I couldn't read a damn of what's going on. And now the thing is that exactly I'm going to hire a lawyer and come after you, or you're looking at a complaint. So I want people to read, of course, we are dealing with lawyers. They should read the law and then they should decide why it's important to comply with the ADA. And besides that, there are a few other things that people have to know. Is a worldwide consortium, the WWAG Guidelines 2.0, which is very much, the compliance requirement for, ADA websites. I'm very much into law office technology. And, that's one of my kind of specialty, talking on law office tech. And these are important things that people have to know. The other thing which I've seen about websites, folks, as you all know, we'll also be talking in intricate detail next time about cybersecurity. This is very important. And Rahul, I've also seen websites wherein they accept credit card payments. They accept credit card payments, but the sites are not secured. And this is the new thing which is coming out now, that every law firm has to watch out that they're cyber secured. So your website is not a regular website anymore. There are different levels of security, and most of the people that you meet with, the web developers, they don't know much about hacking. They don't know about WordPress plugins. They don't know about HTTP security, because that's why easy thing is you go on Google and you're going to see that Google sometimes makes a notation that your website is not secured. That shows clearly that you're not in, at least you're not in web security. Now, let me not confuse apples with oranges. Your website may be HTTP secured, but you may not be ADA compliant. Two different things. And one other thing is, which is new that Rahul is going to talk about websites, which we look at very closely, is the FCC requirement of making sure that you do not have any false and misleading statements on your site. Now, very often I look at this, like sometimes someone, I was Googling, and he says that he's the #1 lawyer in the world. That is a state ethical violation. Now, the lawyer may come back and say that I did not do this. I gave it to my web company. Sorry, my brother, you are responsible for the auditing and monitoring of your own website. The onus is completely onto you to avoid false and misleading communications, especially under New York law and under the model code. You have to make sure that you're in full compliance. Even the Department of Consumer Affairs, can come after you for providing false and misleading information, and you can be subjected to fines and penalties from the Department of Consumer Affairs. One thing which I've seen is people take the website very lightly. They will, I have a web presence, I'm happy. Your web presence is not enough. It's your face value today, folks. Besides that, you also have to make sure that you have enough tools from Google on your website so that the web company is giving you proper analytics, because this is such a business that you can be ripped off by anyone within a minute. And you'll have these common people, John and Jay's calling you, telling you how to develop your website. Do they have the legal background? Do they know what the hell they're doing? These are factors that you have to consider. And secondly, tomorrow if there is a lawsuit against you on an ADA claim, the company standing behind you should be able to stand up for you to at least help you to see whether the other person is at fault if they're bringing the lawsuit. Those audits are necessary, folks. And that needs experience in ADA. And it cannot be done by any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Be careful, but make the right decision before you actually kind of, check your website. Now, someone asked me, I already have a website. Can I make sure that you can check the compliance? I think Anjali has some questions on that. How can you check a compliance for a site? Because you've seen so many sites. What is the number of sites, Anjali, which are non-compliant on a scale of 1 to 10 that you have seen? And I think let Ran answer the question. Ran is the best person to answer the question because he's gone through a lot of websites. And then what is your kind of, people are taking this lightly, but end of the day, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many sites are in compliant?
96% are non-compliant.
How many?
Non-compliant. And
I think you're breaking up, so I'll take it. How much did he say?
There's a network issue that runs in. So I'd say most of the websites are non-compliant. Above 95% of the websites are not compliant with it.
Now, can you believe it, folks? If you're looking at the show, make sure that you. And by the way, you all need to Google. Okay, if you're listening to the show, the importance of ADA, and Rahul also cited the Second Circuit decision, and this also applies to other states too. So it doesn't matter where you are. There may be similar decisions from the 9th Circuit, from the 5th Circuit. Make sure that you are in compliance And the easy thing to do is you can even call up Angie, and even Ryan can speak to you, and he can give you a free analysis of your website, whether you're in compliance. If you're not in compliance, please do not wait for a lawsuit to be filed against you. And because even if a lawsuit is filed, the first thing is an injunction in those cases that better start complying. And I have some sad news for people who thought that this law is going to go away. So Congress tried to change this particular provision by trying to make sure that people, who are having this issue, 60-day notice. Unfortunately, that bill does not pass. So right now, you're subjected to the laws of 1990s, wherein there should be HTML sites. And Congress did not envision that this problem will come up. So right now, all the people who have websites that are not compliant with the ADA are always at risk. And Rahul, your thoughts on that? And because let's talk about the brick and mortar concept. And, this is a very serious show. So explain,
Yes.
Talk with the Second Circuit decision, please.
So just as a matter of statistics, Mr. Gay is correct that ADA lawsuits are increasing very rapidly. In the past 5 years alone, since 2017, they've increased by something like 350% up to 2021.
And daily 10 lawsuits are being filed, Rahul. Every day there are 10 lawsuits that are being filed, minimum.
Right. Those are the numbers that we've gotten up to at this point, and given their trajectory, they're only likely to increase. So these aren't issues that are going away, as Mr. Gahey noted, and often it's also very easy because the ADA allows, say, for testers, as long as they have an injury in fact, to bring a suit, a concrete injury. You can actually bring multiple suits with the same plaintiff.
Same plaintiff. Now that's so important what Rahul said. Now I know of a visually impaired person who has filed more than 100 lawsuits so far. One person has filed 100 lawsuits, and I know that for sure. And if you're a lawyer, go on PESA, Google ADA lawsuits. The proof will be in the pudding. You'll know it on your own of why this is such a big danger. And by the way, you should do your own research. And also you need to read about Section 508. That is critically important. Section 505 of the ADA. These are important provisions. And under Title 3 of Civil Rights, look, I'm talking about civil rights law, Title 3, you have to be in full compliance of the ADA. It's a civil rights violation for you to not have your website, because that constitutes discrimination against people who are visually impaired. Look at the law. So don't take this lightly. Don't think it, oh my God, I'm done with this, or this is just a gimmick. It's not. Check it out on your own, folks. And by the way, work with people of legal backgrounds to at least make sure that you also ask them for a monthly report. And one other thing, Rahul, which I've seen is, as a lawyer, like, MYLS develops lawyers' websites, they do case management softwares. The thing is, what I've seen is half of these websites, they're web service providers, like if they do the SEOs, they don't even give them a Google Analytics report. They just give them a, kind of a piece of paper and says, you're on the X page of Google. That's not how things are done. Since there's a law of a technology seminar, you have to know what is Google Analytics. Then you know what is SEM, search engine marketing. What is SEO? And if someone is telling you on SEO that I can get you on the first page of Google in the next 7 days, he's bullshitting you, folks. Straight, I'm a straight shooter. He's absolutely bullshitting you. On SEO, you cannot. But if you're engaging in digital marketing, in 2 to 3 weeks, you can see some action. And how lawyers waste money, and especially personal injury lawyers, immigration lawyers. Let me talk about that. We are blessed with a roaring practice, but anyway, my practice has to do nothing with my legal software. How do I balance technology? Number one is that I make sure that a company, which mine is handled by my legal software. As I said, I'm the founder. I want to make that clear so that everyone knows that I have an interest as a founder in my legal software. I'm going to make that clear. but I have my own law firm too, separate entities. So end of the day, I make sure that I have the company directly deal with Google. Now, why is that important? Because I'm cutting off the middleman. So suppose if I'm using a third-party company, which is a brand name like bcc.com, and they say advertise on a website, will send you clients, you're cutting the middleman. Because that middleman is going through another way of using search engine optimizations to make sure they come up on Google. So look at it, the end answer in most cases is coming to Google. And they are also spending money on Google to make sure they rank up so that you can show up on Google. Look at how this is working. So the concept of My Legal Software is to eliminate the middleman. You get in touch with Google directly and basically just have one person working for you who does it. And other than that, there's a program which I think Anjali has, that you can also get a free report of your SEO standing and get a free report of your web evaluation to see where you actually stand. And Ren, I think you're not audible because I think there's some kind of disturbance here. But I think if you can try talking, that'll be great on this issue.
Yeah. I think the reception...
It's better now.
That's better. Okay, good.
Yes, you can start talking about, a little bit about digital marketing, the importance of it.
Yeah, so we're finding that a lot of law firms are very interested in signing up for the digital marketing, especially it gives them an additional way of sourcing clients. So, they've got obviously their tried and tested methods, but this is an additional way of improving the number of clients that they're able to talk to. So it's a
right.
String to their bow, basically.
So now let's talk about a little more about web compliance and also Angie, what can you do now? Angie also has some other thing that she'd like to talk about, the case management part of it, why that is important, and because also she has solutions for people who are struggling. A lot of questions she's getting is from lawyers. They are struggling with their current softwares because they are not having a proper deadline management system, or the calendar is not in sync with Google. And at the end of the day, it's difficult to use. Can you talk about your experiences on that? And how can people reach out to you for the case management software? Remember, My Legal Software has different kind of components: web management, web solutions, digital marketing for lawyers all over the United States, and SEOs. And at the same time, they also have case management softwares for general practice law firms and for immigration law firms. And the trial is completely free for a limited time. Even if your website is doing well, if you want to get an honest report, get in touch with Angie or with software or with Ren, they'll give it to you. You want to know, you want to increase your business, you're a new lawyer, get in touch with them. Or besides that, you are struggling with the case management software, get a demo, because they have a plan right now that's going on free for some time. Ren, you may please mute for a second if you don't mind. Yes, Angie.
So like Mr. K, I'll just take a step back and we were talking about how ADA compliance is important and people are not paying much attention to it. So I would like also to mention that this is the right opportunity for all the lawyers to kind of help themselves before they could help their clients. Because if people come and file a case against them, like you rightly said, there'll be high penalties. And other than that, My Legal Software, as everybody always knows, that we also provide case management solution for lawyers. It's a 360-degree solution wherein you can manage your client data, your documentation, your calendars, your reminders, your notifications. And we have come up with a new feature wherein you can use My Legal Software for making more money, wherein you can basically pass on your fees to the client and the client can help you.
Let me talk about this, folks. This is very important. There's a brand new feature that came in.
Yeah.
By the way, what Anjali is saying is that right now, for some time, the installation is free, training is free, and there are no gimmicks. If you don't like it, you can return the software back at no cost or obligation. And the good thing is that, for example, you have a software right now and you're paying the monthly licensing fee. Here, you may not even have to pay the monthly licensing fee because the fee is passed on to your client, and that's how the software works. So at the end of the year, if you have 10 users, you're spending $4,000, you can save those $4,000, and your client is paying for the service. How do you want to know how? Make the phone call, or get in touch with Anjali, or get in touch with Ren, or get in touch with Mo, or with Rahul. They can show you how. So people just have to spend the time. In paralegals, can just spend the time, look at it, and then let the bosses know. And the people who should actually contacting the most are paralegals. And I'll tell you why, because this program, and actually the people who are calling Angie are paralegals more than lawyers, because it makes their life easy. And then you can let your boss know, this is what I'm comfortable with, and I feel comfortable, then let your boss come online. That's how things work. So to make a long story short, you're dealing with website development, get more business. And half the lawyers, right, they get these people coming to the doorstep saying that, hey, listen, I can get you X amount of clients. Start questioning them how. Ask them, do you know about Google Analytics? Number one. How much do you know about exactly Google My Business page? Number two. How much do you know about SEM? How much do you know about meta tagging? How much do you know about white hat? How much do you know about black hat? I mean, one of my favorite subjects is the law of technology. And I watched this under a microscope. And when someone comes to my office and tries to tell me this, I have this famous saying that, never bullshit the bullshitter. So stop the BS and get to work and show me what you bring to the table. That is critically important when you're dealing with all this. So, people will come and they'll tell you, okay, but remember, it is just going to be helpful for you folks to have someone who has a legal background. Now, another thing I'll tell you, someone asked me this question, SEO, I'm not coming up on SEO. So the first question I asked him, who is the person who's handling the SEO? Guess what? The person said that the company which is doing it doesn't have any legal background. I said, thank you. I rest my case. Why? What is SEO? Search engine optimization. What is Google looking at? What are the web, search engines looking at? They are looking at content that is special, unique, and extraordinary. So, for example, you're talking about personal injury, you're talking about accident. Hundreds of people are doing it. But why is this particular lawyer's SEO coming up? The reason is because his content is unique. His keywords are unique. His meta tagging is better. And his strategies are better. These are things I believe like people have to study very much in order to get to my level of knowing this knowledge. But those are factors that one needs to kind of look into. Can you promise someone that you're going to come up on the first page of Google right away? That's completely wrong. But how can you offset? Now, take an example about personal injury law firms or look at real estate law firms. And I'm taking an example of a law firm in California or Texas or New York or New Jersey. So your name is John Doe. And now, when someone is Googling that real estate attorney, John Doe is not coming up, but Jane Doe is coming up. Now, you know why Jane is coming up? Well, she has a better strategy than yours. And you're losing clients. Yes, you are losing clients because Jane is getting more clients than you, but she has a better plan than you. Always keep an eye on your SEOs. And there's another trick which a lot of the digital marketers are using. Google your own website, and sometimes you're going to see your competitor is he's bidding on your website. His name is coming up and you're losing business. Unless you're a brand, you're going to lose business. This needs constant monitoring. And when you're going to call up your web guy, said, I'm so sorry, I don't know what to do about it really. Those are evasive answers. And you're losing business. And the other thing which I've seen is about websites, right? You need to make sure that your Google console, you need to make sure that your Google Analytics and your optimal performance on Google, when you Google it, should be at the 95%. Then I will consider your website to be good. And very few websites have that kind of a score out. And if they have that score, part two of the question, is that site ADA compliant? Big questions. that are coming up. These are questions for lawyers to answer. Don't take this lightly, folks. You don't have to contact My Legal Software, but do your own research. And then you decide what the requirements are. And also, I think MYRS has a plan that the case management software comes in free for you and whatnot, which Anjali can talk to you about once if they check your website and they develop it. Rahul, any other things that you've seen in terms of people, what are there any defenses? I haven't seen a lot of defenses to ADA lawsuits. What are the defenses you've seen so far?
I mean,
kind of rectifying this issue. But I think, from a scholarly perspective, it is time for Congress to act. But the bottom line is that exactly all these people who are suing, all these, and by the way, supermarkets are getting sued. Can you talk about the list of people who are getting sued?
Yes, I mean, it's a very wide-ranging list that has included law firms.
Okay, let me tell you.
Supermarkets.
Retail stores and
H&R
other
Block.
sales or retail establishments, banks, hotels, inns and motels, hospitals and medical offices, food and drink establishments, auditoriums, theaters, and sports arenas too. So because Rahul rightly said it, that even law firms have to comply with the AD. So this is what we're looking at. So folks, if there are any questions, we expect some questions from people. Feel free to ask them. A question from a new lawyer. I'm starting off a new business. And how should I kind of plan myself? Number one, you need to have a very good website. Secondly, make sure your site is ADA compliant to avoid any issues. Make sure that you are HTTP'd on your website. Make sure that you have an SSL certification. Make sure that your ranking on Google is high in terms of basically visibility and in terms of basically that the site is good. Then after that, make sure that you start working on SEOs. Then basically invest some money in digital marketing. Then only you're going to find people calling your office. So the most common call thing which I've seen is that I started my practice, I'm not getting any calls. Sure, you will not get calls because you don't have the right marketing strategy in place. So these are things that people have to know. Now, Rahul, in terms of people using the right softwares, especially for even personal injury lawyers, immigration lawyers, you worked on a lot of softwares. Why do you think that half the softwares, of course, there are big names in the market. And there's a saying that big name doesn't mean that you have the best product out there. Bottom line is that you have to explore and ask your paralegal to spend time to see which one you think is the best and then go for it. Common problem, Rahul, which we have seen, and we have some very good clients and they're very happy with My Legal Softwares, two products. Immigration lawyers are very happy that we have, I think you have custom-made forms and you have other things that are making people happy. Plus even, general practice lawyers are opting for it because of the array of features which are there, which people may not find in other softwares. So Rahul, can you tell me what are the features that are distinguishing in My Legal Software here?
Yes. So one of the distinguishing features, I think, is just how robust and well-built the platform is. If you look at the reports feature, you can audit up to, basically more than 17,000 cases in some users in an instant without, any lag times or any glitches in the report. And that level of, scale is going to be important as you develop your practice in the future, but it's also an indicator of the reliability of the software itself. Another feature I'm sure that many law firms have had to deal with, say, an employee who left in the past and you for whatever reason discover that you have reason to double check their work and ensure that it was, fulfilling your ethical obligations or just up to the standards of your firm. the MyLS platform, both Immigration Speed and GP Speed, allow you to basically check the history of each individual case and the assignments and reassignments, so you can track back to that employee even years later and go through and specifically audit the cases that they worked on at a particular time period, or see what cases, even if they're not currently assigned to them, may have been affected by their work in the past, which is a great tool for, your own compliance and audits.
Rahul, there are other features because, I can happily tell you that, I'm from Gay and Associates. Plus, as I said, let me clarify, I do have an interest in My Legal Software as basically the founder. But my law firm, Gay and Associates, which is a separate entity, which I don't want to link, we are happy to tell you that we have been using My Legal Software for 17,000 cases. We have 17,000 cases in our law firm, and we are happily using it. Plus, the good news that it's cloud-based, and we have people working in different countries for us. So at the end of the day, that's a robust software. And if you want to grow your practice, then only you should take a demo. And by the way, play around with the software, then you'll feel the difference. In one day, you can never make a decision about a software, too early to say. And if you want to switch, feel free to switch. So, and right now, I think they have a very special offer going on. Anjali, can you talk about the offers you're providing right now?
So we're running a special offer for till the February month, which is like 1 month from today, is that we're having no installation.
Until Valentine's Day.
So even after that, for people who don't have a Valentine. So we're
let them find a Valentine and get in touch with you. How's that?
Yeah. So basically, they get free installation. They also get a free site audit, which is not provided by any other company, even if they are a digital marketing company. So we are providing a free SEO, digital marketing, as well as website check. A proper report will be shared on what all, if there are different issues in the different parts of the website, we'd even cover that. And in case if they need any help regarding settlement of the website, or different people might have different requirement. For example, maybe there are people who don't have a website, so we can create a website for them. There can be people who already have a website, but they just wanted to be compliant with the ADA, so we can maintain that website. So we have different plans for people who have different kind of needs. It will be tailored to customize to different people who ever have what kind of problem. So MYLS comes free for first 2 months for people who take the website plans. And MYLS, as discussed and as we were talking about earlier, is that it's an amazing software for the people who are actually looking for a growth in their law firms, in their businesses, in their client numbers, in their leads.
So a lot of people who are opting for this immigration law firm, general practice law firms, personal injury law firms, they love this. Some of them, they liked looking at the software and they were very happy. And you can also integrate it with the other software. So those things are possible. One other thing I like is, is you can pass on the buck to the client, which means there are no licensing fees. You're paying nothing. The client is paying you the money, and there's a feature for that. So end of the day, you're saying you may even save a lot of money. So you're getting a free installation. You're starting with it. You don't have a client, you're not paying anything. You got a client, the client paid you a retainer of $5,000. You got a $50 bill extra for the software. You're collecting the money, and the company is just collecting that money. And plus, on your credit card also, the fee is being passed on to your client in most states. Let me be particular about it. It cannot be in every state, but in New York and most of the states, they allow the fees, even for the credit card, to be passed on to the client. So imagine the money you can save, and you need to just look at it, take a deep breather, and then after that, decide what you want to do. Rahul, one other thing which I like is the mail in and the mail out feature and the case notes and the case summary, because God forbid, if a lawyer ever gets kind of into unfortunate trouble by basically a disgruntled client, you got a disgruntled client who files an ethical complaint, you can also pull the report out when the package was mailed out and send that entire report to the bar committee, and you can come out clean. That's one feature which I like very much. And that can be a lifesaver for a lot of lawyers and paralegals who say, I mailed the file out, because your business records under the rules of evidence are critically important. And you can cite that this is my business record under the rules of evidence. And those things may be very handy at times. Your say on that, Rahul?
Yes, it's also important that they're all integrated so that if you say forget to make a note, if it's in your mailing feature, it'll show up in the record as well. So your mail, your collection of payments, your case notes, your uploaded documents are all kind of integrated into one seamless system that makes it much easier to create a coherent record of exactly what you did and when, and to have, basically supporting evidence for all of the notes that you make. So the record keeping is very good. And again, in the audits and reports, there are many different kinds of audits and reports that you can run to find basically cases where, some information is missing. It can alert you to the fact that, say, information about the client is missing, or say a task has been assigned that hasn't been completed. And you can filter specifically for those kinds of cases where, say, maybe you started the case in a hurry and you missed some important biographical information about the client. The modules that we have and the reports that you can run would basically alert you to that fact before you get into or create any issues with your clients.
So that's one another thing which I like is the hourly billing feature, which is included in this. Now remember, people charge you extra for the hourly billing feature. This is included in this plan too. So you're not paying anything extra, that this is extra, that is extra. It's all under one roof. And can you talk about the importance of the hourly billing feature, especially when there's a fee dispute, an arbitration involved in these lawsuits?
Yes. So the hourly billing feature is also another feature that's seamlessly integrated into the case notes itself. As you're on the case notes page, looking through the case and updating the case, a timer will automatically run for you to track the work that you're doing. And when you make a case note, you can say whether this is a billable work that you've done, and it will automatically generate, your timesheet for that case, which you can also have, the rates at which you bill and generate invoices for the clients. So it's not necessarily, although you can do it manually, you have the ability to say, this was actually work that was done. There was an automated timer that was, timing me. It's not simply, your own recollection of the time that you spend. And it's once again, integrated with the notes that you make on the case and the updates that you make to the case as well.
No, another thing is that what I've seen, right, is when you're based on the cloud, you also have to make sure that you have good security. And this is one major concern, that questions which are not asked by lawyers: how is the software secured? And secondly, what happens is that, the role of the admin, the role of the super admin in a law firm, not many people know those things. So they just go with the brand. Okay, 7 people in the market have this, I'm going to opt for this software. Don't do that, folks, because ultimately you need to make sure that you're secured in your practice. Security comes first, then comes everything else. And secondly, another thing which Rahul mentioned is that this is a common problem that was resolved by My Legal Software, is when your lawyer or your paralegal leaves the firm, how are those cases going to get reassigned? Are they going to fall through the cracks? MYL has found a solution for that to a substantial extent. And now the good news is that when people leave the law firm, you don't encounter that issue because you have everything with you so that you can assign it to one person. And therefore, that exactly you'll be not missing on deadlines, or you may be able to take charge of the situation if someone abruptly leaves the firm from your end. So that's very important now.
Yes, because you can look through the cases both by the worker and the type of case. Let's say that you had somebody who handled a number of different areas. You can reassign, in a large group, all of their, say, divorce cases to one attorney, all of their, say, immigration cases to another, and their personal injury cases to a third, if that's how you want to divide your workload once they're gone. You can also, again, and then these assignment histories are also tracked for you. So you can see both how the workload is distributed among your employees today and how it historically had been distributed. So you can check and improve your productivity that way.
Also, the other thing is that sometimes you have a client coming back and saying after so many years, The good thing is that MYLS maintains your record, so you know where the client left off, what time he left off, why he left off. So that can be very important for you, because there are some clients who try to kind of basically pull a fast one on you and tell you, hey, listen, I never heard from you. You need to pinpoint that case, know that you called him on so-and-so date, and he did not basically kind of comply, he did not cooperate, and therefore you have to file a motion to withdraw. And also the templates features is amazing. So you can change those templates and you can reuse them. And it's really fast, heavily. The template feature, Rahul.
Yes. So depending on your practice, you can store specific templates for, say, memos or briefs that you would have to consult more frequently or that you rely on. And you can also, it's a very great way to save time for cases that you know are going to, or for issues that you know are going to recur throughout your practice. And then you only have to, update them for the specific case at hand, and review, the updated law as well. But yes, the templates are a great time-saving feature that are applicable to anyone across, general practice areas.
Okay, now coming back to the question of a new lawyer and ADA compliance. Now, a new lawyer starts his office and does not have an ADA compliant, site. I would tell him to go back and make sure that you have a ADA compliant site, so that exactly, you follow the principle of, prevention is better than cure. You won't have any such issues and everything, to make sure that you're on the safer side. Other than that, you're a new lawyer, you started your practice, your basic complaint that we get, I don't have clients. MYLS can help you. Of course, they can help you to basically make sure that they come up with a game plan, wherein, you'll see leads coming to your doorstep, but it takes time, but all those things are possible. And generally, MYLS works with lawyers who want to grow the practice. They want to take the practice to the next level. They want professionals at the back to work with them. And basically, you review the content and make sure that everything is good. And basically, you come up, on Google. Or if not, if you're not coming up, make sure that you have an alternative plan wherein you come up on digital marketing. Because once if you show up properly on digital marketing, guess what? You can really, really grab a lot of business. And for example, right, Gay and Associates in Queens, we are on top in Google. We have many different strategies that we've adopted. So end of the day, that's how you build your own brand. But working with professionals is the key. But working with a company who doesn't have any legal background may be good, may not be good. But that's the call that you have to take. Because take an example, you're a personal injury lawyer. They don't know Section 240 of construction law in New York. Are they citing that in your SEO? The answer is no. You are losing out on that. But they don't know 240 of the construction law. That was not cited. So Google is saying that throw this out. I have another lawyer who's doing it, and let me get them up on the SEO. You have a pay-per-click campaign on Google, but you don't know what words you're putting in that campaign. You're losing money, folks. You're an immigration lawyer. You don't know the right keywords that you're putting in, and you're wondering, the guy is telling you, you're going to come up, you're going to come up, you're not coming up. Of course, you're not coming up because the person working at the back is not having a proper communication with you and is not using the right keywords. Of course, he's going to tell you on the 17th page of Google. Who is going to go on the 17th page of Google to find you, brother? Who is going to go on the 17th page? You tell me. Now you have the bad publicity. Someone wrote a negative review. There are ways that you can take those reviews on the back pages of Google. Legal ways. Follow white hat technology and follow them. But your web developer will not be able to tell you unless you have a very experienced team and people who know what they're doing. That's the critical factor when you assess your website. Doesn't matter whether a small law firm or a big law firm, because the rules are standard when it comes to social media marketing. Look at your presence on Instagram. Look at your presence on Facebook. See how many likes you have on Facebook, how many followers you have on Facebook. How come your competitor has more? These are factors you have to consider. How about a Google account? These are factors that you will have to see very clearly. And when you have proper analytics and a proper system, you can do very well. All your thoughts on that?
Yes, I mean, the issue is that, a web presence and digital marketing are essential to new lawyers. They're the primary way that you're going to be attracting new clients, especially clients who you don't already know through your networks. However, they can become a significant source of liability as well as costs if you don't, utilize them correctly or efficiently. You need to ensure that your website is both maximizing your reach and your ability to find new clients who are specifically looking for your kind of work. The fact that you appear on the top page of different Google search results may not matter if those searches are not going to lead to clicks for your website, if they're not from interested clients who are searching specifically for the services that you provide. So knowing which specific searches that you appear on is essential. But in addition to that, there are significant limitations, not just in terms of the ADA, but in terms of, say, professional ethics about what you can say to reach out to new clients and get them to come in. As Mr. Gehi mentioned towards the start, for example, the New York State Bar has a prohibition against, say, comparisons, saying that you're specifically better than or more hardworking than other law firms, even if you could describe yourself, if the evidence supported it, as hardworking without the
Rahul,
comparison.
I've seen someone putting the #1 lawyer in the USA because that SEO guy, that character who's behind the scenes, does not confer with the law firm, and that lawyer can be in trouble. Straight up, #1 lawyer in America. Who are you to judge false and misleading communication straight? And another thing is that exactly bidding on the wrong keyword. You know why they do that, right? So that the client keeps kind of telling me, hey, do better, do better, do better. Those things are very important. Then you have to be transparent in this. And a good professional, we have Ranvik here, who's a very seasoned professional here. He's with My Legal Software. He knows what he's doing. Set up a meeting with any one of them and see. And by the way, there's no cost or obligation to set up meeting. If you're not comfortable, you can walk away. It's no big deal. But we've been seeing a lot of people, contacting My Legal Software. A lot of people have been thinking about moving to My Legal Software, for the services, because it's all under one roof. And as I said, law office technology is something that we know very well. We take pride in it, and we keep improving the software to the next level. For example, this software, one of the best things that someone said they liked is how well it is integrated with Google Meet, and it's integrated with WebEx. It's also integrated with Zoom. So in a sense, that's how fast the software should work. And by the way, people who really have become very good at the software have even taken exams to pass the software exam for the software. This is how the software is. So folks, it's been wonderful being here today. If anyone has any questions, they can post us. And, make sure, Anjali, that you boost this video and make sure that people get a chance to see the importance of AD, because AD is very, very important for lawyers, or, especially big law firms, mid-sized law firms. They should look into the ADA very carefully. And that's going to be very helpful. So other than that, I would just ask Anjali to say a few words. And Anjali, can you talk about this plan yours, wherein the lawyer doesn't have to pay for the case management software, for the general practice software, explain it, and for that's a special offer that you have. How does that work?
So Mr. Gehi, it works in two ways. One is that, say, some people want it per user basis, and there can be some other people who want it per case basis. So depending on everybody's needs, say if you're a solo practitioner and you handle, say, 5 cases, so you might want to take you for 5 cases, and you can bill per case basis to the client.
But the lawyer is not paying the fee because he's passing on the bill to the client, so the lawyer gets it free.
And it's not everything is so transparent that when you actually create a case, there is an invoice step wherein you have to add the invoices part of it, and that's where it is mentioned.
And the client pays you for the fee. So
yes, correct.
So at the end of the month, you did not have a client, you're not paying anything for the software.
Yes, if you don't have a client for the
month. And the good thing is, and there are no kind of installation fees, no training fees. But
no, that's a special for this month. That's a special for this month.
That's a special for this month.
Yeah, it's a limited.
Can sign up and feel it. And if you have 10 clients in a month, you didn't pay anything, your client paid for us. Plus, you can also make a profit by adding some more stuff in your invoices. If suppose you made copies, you can add that up. So you're saving money. Plus, exactly. credit card the client charged in New York, the buck
Yeah.
gets passed on to the client. How much money do you calculate that? All it takes is just a demo. Follow up another demo and proceed further. So thank you, folks. It's been wonderful discussing about the ADA. Now a hot topic next week, or after 2 weeks from now. And every lawyer should know about security. Rahul, I'm talking about the new law which is coming in. You know that, right?
Yes.
What is it?
The recent
Cyber security.
Cyber
Cyber
Okay,
security.
that I am not familiar with.
All lawyers, especially in the state of New York, have to take courses, CLE courses on cyber security. This is not a CLE, but even lawyers who are going to talk about cyber security, they should know. People working for big law firms, they should know what is cyber security. And cyber security is a vast area. And we'll have Priyanjali talking with us, and Rahul will have to work very hard for the next session. And cyber security has many components. The number one component for cyber security is going to be whether you're secured through your WAN and WAN. WAN is wide area network, and LAN, local area network. These are concepts we'll talk about. Then secondly, whether your software is properly secured, whether your cloud data is properly secured. When you're leaving your desk, why should your computer log off after a few seconds? And how are you keeping your files? Your physical security is important. The importance of social security numbers, the importance of date of birth, importance of names, all those factors are going to be discussed at the next session. So it's been a pleasure being with all of you. And for clarification's sake, the advice in this is general in nature. Rahul is a law graduate with tremendous experience. He's not an attorney. Ranvik is from the sales department of My Legal Software, a very senior gentleman who's done this for a long time. And we have Anjali, who's been from the sales department and from My Legal Software. Thanks to Ravi and to Priyanjali for making this a success. And next one, if you like us, share this video and let your friends know the importance of ADA. Folks, start reading. We are lawyers. Look up ADA and you will get in touch with us. Look up ADA, you will get in touch with us, or law firm will get in touch with us. And make sure that you go with the right people who know what is ADA. Because I have fought ADA lawsuits. That is important. Save thousands of dollars, but not getting it with a lawsuit for no apparent reason. And even, God forbid, if you get hit, if in New York, I'll be happy to settle that case for you and defend it needed. So I don't want you to come with me, Mr. Gehi, I got hit with the lawsuit, take care of it. I've handled those cases too. I would hate to see any of your lawyers who are here coming to me and asking me to defend. I would hate to do that, folks. So even if you'll see ADA lawsuits on my name that are filed. So that's why we know what is ADA, folks. So pleasure being with all of you. Next seminar is going to be 2 weeks from now. So what date can it be? And the topic is cyber security, what all law firms need to know about cyber security. And that is the biggest thing which is coming up from a lot of bar associations and bar committees, the importance of cyber security. And even when you apply for your CLE credits, it's going to be a requirement in many states to comply with cyber security. And if you are with any law firm, small, big, make sure that it may be helpful for you to just attend and know about cyber security. And especially this is meant for people, it's a 101 basics, more like a dummies kind of a course for people who want to know what is cyber security in the legal profession. And it's very, very important. If you don't comply, that may become an issue for you if you get, into trouble with the law. Thank you, folks. Any questions, Rahul? Thank you so much, Ren. Any questions?
Thank you.
What's the day, Anjali?
So it's 9th of February, 3 to 4 p.m. EST.
9th of Feb, 3 to 4 p.m. And for any questions, go to mylegalsoftware.com, and they can also go on Calendly, correct? How can they book an appointment with you?
So it's on the, if you go to the website, there's a link for schedule a meeting. You can have one-on-one meeting with me. You can also give us a call at 212-390-9493.
212-390-9493 and www.mylegalsoftware.com. We'll be back again next week. The instant advice is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. And this particular session is meant for just basic guidance purposes and nothing more than that. And if any other questions, you may reach us and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you all. We'll be back
Thank you.
with some more information from the world of cybersecurity. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.